Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book professionals. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, I got this guy.
This guy right here. I am JD Rosario, also known as Jay the Unstoppable from Unstoppable Comics, and I do not know how to fumble my own intro that I've been doing for years, ladies and gentlemen. I can rock and roll, baby. All right. I'm like that bad itch that keeps coming back every time you scratch it. It feels so good. I don't know where the hell that came from. But folks, I've been publishing comic books for over 15 years, and I'm happy to be sharing some of the knowledge that I have gained losing a ton of money in my independent comic book creating life with everyone.
A bit of honesty. I kind of like that.
Yeah, you got to, baby. You got to.
And our co-host for tonight is...
How's it going, everybody?
What? Paul got a cocoa?
Yeah, I'm, moving up in the world, man. I love the show. Y'all know I do, and I'm glad to be here helping co-host, helping, lift any of that weight that Jay isn't exactly carrying.
He never carries any anyway. Except what's on his gut.
Okay.
All right. But Paul, any websites you wanna pop out before we load up the next guest?
No, I mean it's just find me, check me out. Prelude to Auroras on Kickstarter, April 1st.
All right.
That's
cool,
it.
Cool. All right.
What's up?
What's up, Chad? Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, I'm Chad Perkins. I'm the writer of Blue Lullaby from Marcosia Enterprises, but I also currently have a campaign called Can I Talk About It Now?
Well, we're going to pull all the campaigns up, but if you want, you can do a quick mention. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. So I am currently doing my Legend of Sparkle Dog Don't Say a Woo through Hasm Productions. Is currently live on Kickstarter, but we'll get to that later. And also, I just want to say, I do think that Spawn and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the peak of indie comics. Ooh. So that's all I wanted to say. Ooh. So anyway, let's continue.
All right, we got rid of that guy.
Also, see Anita said I.
Figures.
Yo, Chad, that's what. Now I know what I like you because those are one of my favorite characters. So anyway, you can't go wrong in my book. I got your back. We'll take these guys out. Anyway, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera, host of Cast the Craze podcast, one of the first podcasts that launched in 2005. I'm also the creator of There's an Alien in My Toilet. His name is Duty. He's from the planet Uranus, and he's coming back with a graphic novel, April 4th. Check it out.
Nice.
What's up, everybody?
Mitch.
Oh,
Mitch,
God,
introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I gotta go now. Bye. I'm hitting.
Hi, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a native of Greenville, South Carolina. I've been doing indie comics for 14, going on 15 years. I am the creator of the Boger horror comic book series.
Nice. All right, cool.
And what's up, guys? I'm Michael Oden, creator and founder of Nine Realms Publishing, known for books such as Elysian Fields, The Embrace, and most recently SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. And I am also the writer of American Bliss, which is currently live on Kickstarter.
All right, cool. So, gentlemen, I know we most of us, if not all of us, got a campaign running, all this stuff. But anyway, I got a question for you guys, right? The big story of the day is manga, right? We keep hearing it, manga, right? So, what are the key lessons that us as independent creators are taking away from manga? What are the lessons that we're taking that we can apply to ourselves, right? So, Mr. Oden, let's start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wonder why I'm being asked this question. So I think that the big thing that independent creators and honestly the entire industry as a whole should be learning from manga is finding your audience, really. Like manga is, like, as much as we talk about it as if it's a one whole thing, manga is literally just comics, and the reason why it's as successful as it is because it knows which audiences it wants to target. It doesn't try very hard to try and expand that audience. It focuses in on that audience, and it's successful. And yeah, there does tend to be some overlap, but it's successful because it finds its audience, it hits its mark, and it stays with it. There are all the genres under the sun under manga as a whole. Everything from sports to cooking to action battle shonen to slice of life. There's something for everybody, and I think that's probably its biggest strength. There are other things that you could talk about in terms of, page layouts and everything like that. But a lot of, I think the biggest lesson that can be learned from manga is do not be afraid of just going after a specific target audience. At the end of the day, people who like your stuff are going to gravitate towards it, and trying to be inorganic to the stories you like to tell is going to hurt you in the long run.
Cool. Chad, what are you thinking?
Well, that was mine, but I guess not. But speaking of audience, though, he does have a good point, because there's an entire manga about raising an autistic child, and it's this mother recording her adventures through it. And it's actually really good, but I would say for me it would be storytelling and pacing. Manga, I think it always knows how to set the tone, and it knows how to not, I guess, use paneling as filler. It's just always consistent with what it wants to do. It's always moving. It's always quick to go. It's always straight to the point. Because a lot of these indie creators, especially new ones, will try to use filler pages or filler panels. You don't need those. And a lot of these mangas are, I'm going to grab this cup, I throw the cup, the cup hits the target without seeing that one big motion. And I think that's one of the things that manga, I at least look for a lot when it comes to it. Especially One Piece. I don't know how that Oda does it, but he's really good on pacing. And they also don't do filler stories either. So where comics, I'll pick up an issue and it's Barry Allen goes to the bar. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really want to wear Barry Allen goes to the bar. Or manga, it's a swimsuit edition, but somebody's going to get punched in the face. It's that kind of thing. So that's mine.
All right, cool. Sam, any thoughts?
I think one is just the consistency, timeliness, and the fact that it continues to grow with its followers. And so it doesn't stay stale. It's constantly, moving forward. The train is constantly going. And the biggest lesson for the indie community is just consistency and timeliness.
Okay, cool. Mitch?
Well, everything I had in my head has already been said.
All right, good night, everybody.
He snatched it from his brain. Nice.
Really discussed.
Yeah. Well, one thing that hasn't been brought up is that manga has the tendency to just the creators of it, don't really seem to care about all this, crap about is it good enough? Is it not? They just put out the best work that they can, and the audience chooses if it's good or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shonen Jump is a good example of that.
Yeah.
No.
All right, cool. Paul, any thoughts on that?
Man, I'm gonna first say that I love manga, but my opinion is not gonna sound like that and reflect it. Having said that, I think it's apples and oranges. I think manga is a totally different beast. I think it's simplistic and a wide range. I mean, it does have so many categories and so many things. I think it's like comparing soccer of the world to football of America. And you have so many people playing soccer around the world, which there's so much manga out there compared to the amount of, westernized comics. So, I mean, what can you learn from it? Well, I think the one thing is, it's a little bit more simpler than most of the artists here. They try to deal with the details of the background and the characters and try to really make it realistic in this. And manga doesn't do that as much, which I think it's a good thing for them. But again, it's apples and oranges. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from it.
All right, cool. Mr. Rosario, what are you thinking?
There's layers in here. There's going to be layers to my answer. But first, I want to ask Chad, please send me a link to that story that you're talking about the autistic child, because as the godfather to a young man, and my stepsister's going through this, I am interested, in just getting as much information as I can, and if it's chronicling her life, then that'd be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I will get that for you.
So for me, if I could boil it down to one thing, and it's not just one thing, you said consistency, but I want to bring it to output, right? And yes, they have a studio system. Yes, they have an apprenticeship, and there's a lot of people helping to put those pages together. But they have a ton of product, and contrary to what you were saying, Paul, it's not totally apples and oranges, because there are certain things foundationally that you can apply to this. And going back to Jeff Smith, right? Jeff Smith, one of the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, of independent comic book publishers. And his secret to making comic books was make more comics, right? One thing that people need to understand, and Sam is doing a great job of this, Calderon, you're doing a great job of this, is continuing that story. Issue 1 is going to sell issue 1. Issue 2 is going to sell issue 1 and 2. Issue 3 is going to sell issue 1, 2, and 3. Issue 4 is going to sell 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then you scale that up, and that becomes volumes, right? Trades. And that's the key, man. That's the key. Doing trades. Compilations is what's going to keep you alive in this independent comic book game.
But how many titles do they put out compared to Western? This is the thing. It's like they put out like 100 compared to one title here. And yeah,
I'm sorry. But you got to be more specific. I feel that's too general.
Right. Because the thing is,
I can pinpoint on.
I hear a lot of guys discuss it. They say there's about 500 comics a month coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. How many comic books are dropping on Kickstarter every month? 200
every day.
Plus, right?
200 plus.
Are we hitting that point? Yes. Do we have the same credibility in independent comic book publishing in support, not credibility, support that they're receiving over there in Japan? We're not. I don't think we are.
But they're more organized, and that's another thing that's apples and oranges. Everything is so disorganized here, and everybody's so competitive against each other, where over there it's not as much. And again, the
because
fact that
there's a tree, brother. There's a legacy, right? So let's say Calderon had all of us as apprentices, okay, right, putting out his book. Well, now that's where the support is coming in, because now you, me, Sam, Mitch, we've all worked together. So we came out of the same house, right? It's that family tree. We're pushing each other. So that's where that support is coming from. Are we pushing people that are coming from maybe somebody that's not in Calderon's tree? I don't know, but that's going on there. And it's not anything new. You're right. They're not reinventing the wheel.
No, they're just better at the wheel.
They're better at the wheel. I'll give you that.
Well, they also don't. I would say with manga too, I can walk into a store and go B-Stars volumes 1 through 23.
Okay,
and I have all of them. But with comics and just like especially publishers, and I think indie comic people need to realize too, you can have just one title, and if that makes sense. When you walk into a comic book shop, you see 9 Batman titles. You see 9 Spider-Man titles. With independent comics and manga, it's just one title. And I think that's what a lot of people need, is you don't need to build this giant universe and say, I don't know, Duty goes to the moon, Duty goes to Mars, and there's 2 different stories going on. You just have Duty goes to the moon, and that's it. So that's what I think. I think manga is a lot more approachable, and I think independent comics needs to be like that too. Not saying that they're not, but I think that's one thing that people need to take away when going into independent comics and looking at manga.
Wait, here, let me go through the chat real quick. Manga is basic storytelling that has fun in the telling process.
It's true.
I think we can also learn to condense our stories as it relates to having an end. We want to move back to where comics means multiple genres, not just superheroes. I agree.
Yes, that's true.
Superhero comics has infantilized the comics medium. I would, to a good degree, yes and no. It all starts with the comics code.
The code.
Thank God that's not around anymore. And John says it's a cultural difference between East and West. Now, if I can chime in, I think one of the things that you guys are discussing that the tree that it's under, a lot of it comes out of what? It was a Kodansha, that's the main publisher over there, right?
Yeah.
So imagine like we have Marvel in DC, right? But we don't have one giant umbrella for all independent comics. Like let's say an Image, like we're not all underneath there, and they're saying come on in and do your books, and we'll vote you in and out as we go.
Mhm.
Right. So we don't have that because that's what they have. And you also got to remember the stuff we see, we only see the best of the best. Right. They got stuff that falls off like everybody else, like everyone else. And trust me, we never get to see that stuff.
Well, the Shonen Jump app does that a lot because Viz and Shonen, I think, are like together now because they have a lot of different things. You will see stuff that never sees the light of day over here that gets canceled in like 4 chapters.
And they have, like I said, I think they have more of a volume than we do getting put out. But to say what you were talking about, that one umbrella that is covering so many, that's what we're missing in the independent thing. And I know a lot of people are like saying, I'm going to step up and take the lead, but nobody really does. And they're not embracing all these other independents. What they're doing is embracing themselves and pushing themselves and trying to take their agenda to that frontier, but leaving everybody else behind. And that's
then they
where, that's where independents are failing.
Well, no, I agree. See, here's the thing, though, is like, all right, you have Image, you have Dark Horse, you have Boom, right? Those are the top publishers, along with probably IDW, right?
And Dynamite.
Okay.
Look, they're there.
You're right.
Were more property.
In volume, yes. And Dynamite's put out some good stuff. I just like to shit on them a bit, but they do good work over there. But those being it's once you get into one of those houses, right? It's not easy to get into them, right? And then the other one is, how much volume can they handle, right? Every month, a place like Dynamite, they're releasing, I don't know, 30, 40, probably like 10 or 15 books with 10,000 covers. And then, Dark Horse
programming schedule when you come to that point.
Right. I mean, when, I don't think any of these companies can handle 100, 200 different titles every month.
Yeah, but also, I mean, look at Image, because, I mean, we're talking about independent, so we're not talking about DC and Marvel. If you look at the titles that came out of Image the past few months, which ones are the big ones that everybody knows about?
Jay, now you could do it.
What?
Hold it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Paul right now with what he was saying, and I'm like,
no, not those. The other book, the book you were showing us before the show started. That's from Image.
Oh, yes, it's an Image.
Do a Powerbomb.
Yes. Do a Powerbomb. Great book. Pick it up.
How many people know about it, and how many are really into it, and how much is Image pushing it that much? Image,
but it's not Image that has to push it, Pop. Right? It's the creator. See, here's what people are forgetting. Making the comic book is the easy part. Right? That's the easiest part. And it's not fucking easy to make a comic book. Right?
And I agree
with the comic book is the hard part. I agree.
The creator should be putting boots on the ground. They should be going out there talking every second that they can. I agree. But most of these creators aren't doing that. But as a publisher, they should be pushing their creators to do that and rewarding the creators that do that. They don't. That what they do is they basically are really worried about themselves. And that's the problem. Again, I agree with you that the creators need to be doing more all around the board. Every one of us, including me.
Even though we're all lazy.
I don't know. Do you think one of the things that could also be why it makes it so popular is that in the US, everyone's trying to make a quick buck by trying to find what's trending versus in Japan, they're creating what they love to create.
Yep. I think that's a huge part of it. I think that's a massive part.
9 out of 10 creators are talking about their book or their story being a movie or TV and stuff. They're not even really worried about the comic. And half of the creators out there are like, do I need to make it in a comic form? Can it be okay if it's a movie script? Or I gave my story, not even my comic script, my story to my artist, and he can do whatever he wants as long as it looks okay. Half the creators are in this mentality over here. Over there, they're not in that mentality because they know where they belong. They're put in
Right.
their place.
But also, do you think that in the U.S., a lot of the comics are easy to predict what's going to happen, where in Japan it's more unpredictable?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
Which is why it's more intriguing, and
Well,
you want
here-
to continue reading it.
Yeah. Here in America, we're so obsessed with franchises and properties that, like, there's no real, is Batman going to make it out this time? Of course he is. He's Batman. They need to keep the book going, however long they need to. In Japan, they're, mostly contained stories with beginning, middle, and end. So, you can.
Okay, we're talking about
they also walk.
Oh,
They also could come in too, and you have. I forgot what I was going to say.
So look, we're talking about Japan, but you go to France and Belgium, right, where they're working on one book a year, and the books are album-sized covers, and they're making a living off of that.
And
all right, we're forgetting about that.
Jay, can I answer the original question? Hold on, because to go back to the original point, which is going to frame off of what he was just saying, is that one of the key things that we can probably learn from manga, and it's not even manga, it's from Viz and the companies that release these books, is that there are bigger markets outside of the direct market that you can sell books. Now, it requires some deep pockets to get into those markets, or at least it tends to. And it can take a lot of time to get into them. And that's just getting into Barnes & Nobles and Amazon and all those places. Now, we've debated this question before. Should we color, black and white, newsprint, non-newsprint? There's so much to it. It's not even funny, right? Because as Jay said, there are layers, and there are lots of layers to it. And the question is and I've posed this question, and I could just see the anger in people's eyes. Black and white. Do we really need color? Right? I mean, think about it. Most of manga is black and white. It depends on what. It depends on our preferences.
Exactly.
Right?
I prefer.
It also depends on the type of story you're trying to tell.
But also, I think they set the tone from jump, right? So from the beginning, the majority of the books were in black and white, and so you know what you're expecting. You know what I mean? I think it's the culture differences, right? And what the consumer is willing to accept. They accept it because they have compelling storylines, fantastic artwork, action-packed, suspense, drama, all those things rolled into one. So who cares if it was colored? Because you know what? I feel fulfilled. I feel like I got my money's worth.
Well, the real reason it's in black and white is because it's disposable. It's quick and it's cheap to produce and it's disposable. The way American comics used to be, which they no longer are.
American comics, you got to tailor to the American customers, and the American customers want color. I did a survey before I did any of my comics, and I went and questioned people. Do you really like variant covers? Do you really like color? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, I'm not going to buy this unless it is color. And you're tailoring to your customers. This isn't just about what you want in the comic, or what the niche kind of audience is. You're kind of tailoring it to everybody, aren't you? I mean, because that's what comics are for everybody.
I hear you.
No,
let me bridge the gap.
I tailor my comics for me.
Well,
my comics are for me, and I share them.
I agree with JD on that one.
No, I fully agree with JD.
I'm an artiste. Okay,
I am too, but I believe comics.
Let me jump in and bridge this gap here between Calderon and Paul for a second.
Before somebody starts fighting.
All right,
place your bets.
Three of the 4 on the Mount Rushmore of independent comic book publishing. Jeff Smith, all right. Dave.
Oh God, he's flicking us off now.
Yeah, Jeff Smith.
Dave Sim, right? And then we're going to combine Eastman and Laird. All those 3 books came out.
What happened to Will Eisner?
Yeah, Will Eisner.
Will Eisner. Will Eisner.
This is my fucking Mount
Rushmore.
No,
I agree.
This is my Mount Rushmore. I'm trying to make a point to help you out, bitch.
But you also.
Here's the thing. Those 3 books all originally released in black and white, and it wasn't until they went into trade collections that they start to get color. So you can follow that as a business pattern.
They went that way. They started out to the way they could, and they flowed to where the customers wanted. So you talk about Will Eisner.
They recouped their expenses.
ahead of the time,
went
and
the other
back
way.
then, black and white was more acceptable than it is now. So you're talking a different time period.
Oh,
Talk to
I
the
think black and
customers.
white is
Walking
way
Dead.
more acceptable
Walking
now because
Dead.
of manga.
Talk to the
black
customers.
and
No,
white, it's
manga,
all
again,
about the
apples
story
and
you're
oranges.
telling as well. Like at the end of the day, you know, you've got books like Sin City and everything that you would never be able to do
300,
in
yep.
full color.
Yeah.
Like
I'll get
that's the whole point, is that it fits an atmosphere. Black and white color, it really, what matters is the story you're trying to tell, and whether or not the color or the black and white serves as a better purpose. James O'Barr's The Crow, completely black
my
and
favorite
white.
comic.
I would never want that book in color, because the black and white emphasizes the themes of the book.
You got to understand, y'all are talking about the minority compared to the majority.
All right, so then let's talk about the majority. Who's buying
the
the Walking Dead
the whole
re-releases
point is that
color
we're
right now?
indie.
Nobody is buying The Walking Dead ever. Nobody ever bought that comic, even when the TV show was coming out. Let's be
That is
real
also
here.
fair.
I bought it.
Lance, that shit
Okay, well,
killed, bro.
Mitch, you're also the majority, the minority.
I'm the one guy that bought the book before the movie or the show came out.
You know, like I said, I went and did
feel-
research. I went and asked customers. I was a comic book customer before I started making comics, and that's who I wanted to tailor to to me back then. And talking to these people, like I said, it was 9 out of 10. Half of them didn't even want to look at a black and white. My story, my first book that I put out, I think would have been amazing black and white. But do I think it would have sold half as many as it did? Probably not.
But Paul, listen, I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong, because everybody's gonna see. Here's the thing about this is the fantastic thing about being independent creators. We can do whatever we want.
Right.
And again, that's the best part of it.
If you're doing it for yourself, that's fine. But if you're looking at the majority of the audience, if you're trying to get to more people, and that was really my goal, is to get to as many people as I can, not to make the profit, but to get my story out there to everybody. Because
that's where the whole thing with what we can learn from manga comes from, is because the guys that are doing the manga, the most successful people in that industry are not doing it for the paycheck.
But
they're doing this because it's a story that they want to tell, and everything comes together in a way that it doesn't matter that it's black and white. I mean, we can sit here and say we're trying. I went and did all the research. Demon Slayer outsold everything a few years ago. Completely black and white book.
Same with Chainsaw Man.
I'm not saying that. You have to think about the reasoning behind it. You have to think about
because
the
there was a hit anime, but people still went out and
the manga was way more popular,
and they read it.
The manga was popular even before the anime landed here in America. So,
all right, gentlemen, we've beaten this subject to death.
I got one.
No, we're not. Let's come on. We're
let Jay go in with that.
Go ahead, Jay. Go.
Let me. And this is. I'm sorry if this is putting Sam on the spot. Right? I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know how many other people here are married. I don't know how many people here are married at all. I am Calderon. Sam. All right, Chad. Okay.
I was.
Okay, man.
Sorry.
Jay,
you're an asshole. Why'd you bring it up?
I'm sorry. Listen, it's my second time.
That's what manga will teach us. Don't get married.
I want to bring up the question of profit. All right, and this is a question that everyone needs to consider if they want to spend time in this, right? And Sam, I'm going to go to you for a second. And I apologize if this is putting you on the spot. But how long can you keep doing this before your wife says, honey, your spouse is saying, this is not bringing in any dough. You gotta move on to something else.
Because of
and how much of a factor is that?
Because of Kickstarter, my losses are minimal. It's usually the expenses related to travel and conventions.
Okay.
That's where because my Kickstarters only convert to printing the materials and getting the rewards out. It's never been funded where there's residuals. It's just putting it back into the machine. So what I pay out of pocket is what I do for the convention. So I set aggressive goals for myself at the convention so I can pay for the next convention. So as long as I keep that going and I don't go crazy, I'm fine. Like the Puerto Rico Comic Con, it was a pretty petty, right? So I have to generate $5,000 over there, right? And and that's why I mean, I have a lot of original art, a lot of prints, a lot of, accessories that's going to help drive that, because I can't take that many comics with me because the cost of shipping and the weight and all that other stuff, whatever. So I'm taking about 200 units and that's it. And the rest of it is all original art and prints. But yeah, as long as I play, back in the days, that's the reason why I left comic for 10 years, because it affected my marriage. Because I was working full time and I was putting my earnings back into it, and I paid the bills, but whatever was left over went into the business, and I was burning both ends of the candle, and so I had to make a decision. I'm smart enough now not to make the same mistakes.
So ultimately, you have to turn a profit. This is not because you love or you have the passion for the product.
I love what I do, because at the end of the day, what brings me joy and peace is sitting at that draft table and just creating. Whether or not I'm making a profit right now is just, I want to finish what I started. Right. Okay. Like this graphic novel is a milestone for me. Right. And I'm working on the second half of the story arc. That's huge. So it's just about meeting my own goals for myself. Whatever happens out there, I'll put in the work. I'll do what I can to promote it and get it out there. But right now, the goal is to finish what I started.
100%. And when I was saying before, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely a business aspect. And from an independent creator standpoint, it is crucial. However, being too concerned when you're starting off about where you are going to go with it from an economic standpoint, I mean, these are things that, you need to plan for, but don't let it overcome your vision. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do your comic black and white and you think that is going to be the best version of that book possible, then do it. Because at the end of the day, if it's something that enhances the storytelling or what have you, brings in the themes, everything. I've got several black and white books. I got The Crow, Masks and Mobsters, Sin City. All of these books would never work color, or at least would not be nearly as potent. And the point I'm trying to make is at the end of the day, yes, from an independent side, you have to take the business element. I'm a single father. I have primary custody of my kid. I've got bills to pay. There's of course a point where if I am no longer turning at the very least feeding the machine, as Sam put it, I can't afford to do that. I've got a life that depends on me, right? That's absolutely a concern. But from a creative standpoint, it doesn't matter how many people say, "Oh, I won't look at it." If it's a good story, they will check it out. If the art's engaging, if the atmosphere is there, they will go see it. They will go give it a look. It's all about how you pitch it. It's all about if the black and white or the color enhances the storytelling. All of that stuff is subjective. What matters is this the version of the story you want to tell?
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree with you on a lot on that. And also too, when it comes to manga and independent comics, we can all just do whatever the fuck we want. Yes. I think that's really nice. Yes. We are not tied to anything. I can walk into a store and go, there's the manga Dick Fight Island, and it's right next to Crazy Food Truck, and it's right next to Preacher, and those are totally different things, or just whatever independent comic or whatever comics you want to find. Independent comics and manga are great because you just do whatever the hell you want, and somebody's going to buy it and somebody's going to read it. At the end of the day. And even if it's one person, I care if it's just one person. It doesn't need to be 1,000 people. It can be one person. I will be happy.
Yeah.
No, granted, that doesn't pay the bills, but that's a whole other topic.
in the chat, hold on, let me just cover in the chat. Imaginos TV says, have you guys ever heard of the concept of OEL manga? Right? Then he goes on. He says, right now there are two companies in OEL indie space. That's Nora Caesar, Nick Draper, Ivy, who does Static Shock, is from there, and Saturday AM, which is a company, which is somebody I know of. What is it?
I mean, I guess I technically have an OEL.
Right. Original English language manga. Right.
Wasn't Flipside? I think there's a book called Flipside, was also an OEL too. Now that I think about it.
Right, but I mean, my point is because Paul, because I mean, here's the thing, because I'm pretty sure the people you were talking to as far as getting your surveys done, they're like us. They're your typical average comic book fans, right?
Well, they were customers. I went to LCSs and talked to people who were buying comics, and that's where I went whenever I first started. Now, talking about the money wise, because this is a totally different topic, but if you don't know my story, I accidentally fell into it. Accidentally, this was a household project, me and my kids. I wasn't concerned about the money. Whenever I did my first book that came out, again, this was something that I wanted to talk about mental illness, so I wasn't worried about profit. Talking to new creators, I tell them, always have a business plan going in. I had a job that I worked 14 years at that time, got let go from that job while I was making these comics. So I thought I was going to be at that job and this was just a hobby. But it turned into something bigger because that first comic sold quite a bit.
It always turns into another job.
Having said that, I have kind of been making comics full time because of the profits that made it. And I've realized you have to have a plan if you're wanting to make this a certain thing. So I'm new, about a year and a half into it. And I'm at the point where I can live not great, but it pays the bills at the moment. I don't know if it's always going to pay the bills, but for me, mine have been selling decently well that I don't have to go back to another job right now.
That's
so
cool.
When you're talking, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I said that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I never thought I would make a comic. Here I am having a little bit of success in it. So I am worried about the dollars and cents wise. But whenever I was taking those studies and asking people what they wanted and I hate variant covers. One of my comics, Bushibu Circus Mysteries, has 6. But the reason I did it was because the customers overwhelmingly love this stuff. And even though I want to make a comic just specifically for what I'm not narcissistic enough to say this is mine and only mine. I want to make it for everybody to enjoy it. So I put those covers, I compromised, put those covers out there. I compromised and made sure that everything was colored because most of the customers love that. And I mean, I'm not saying it's all specifically it is my project. And, again, this was the main goal for me wasn't to make it the way I wanted it. It was to show that my kids, this is what we can do if we put our minds to it.
No, and that's fantastic. I mean, and unlike yourself, I'm a complete narcissist. I create the comics for myself.
Yeah, and that's
right. On the other hand,
we're all narcissists at the end of the day.
If you want to make it the way you want to, as long as you don't have that expectation that it's going to be appealing to the masses. I mean, granted, there are going to be, tons of people. Your stuff's pretty good. They're going to buy it. Why would they?
I do okay. Because look, I also have to make money because the thing is I pay my artists. Okay,
right, I do too.
and I pay my artists like they drop that we usually do them in chunks of pages. So whether it's 5 pages or 10 pages,
I do 10.
I get them, I pay. I mean, like clockwork.
Yeah,
like clockwork.
I have everything
like,
paid before I get to the Kickstarter. I pay them every 10 pages for my interior artist. I understand.
Yeah.
I didn't know that going into it, but nowadays I'm starting to catch up and learn.
Man.
Yeah,
you guys crazy. You pay your collaborators. They work with me for the glory.
Yeah.
I have people tied up in the basement that
I need to borrow one.
I thought exposure was payment. What?
Can you do this for exposure?
It's
Wait,
funny.
you guys are making comics?
That whole concept, it gets under my skin. I won't work for exposure. I get it. You won't work for exposure. But you know what? If you were practicing to be a doctor, you would have to pay 6 figures for an internship. You know what I mean? So what makes you think you're fucking that good? How many people are out there like, you should pay me for a cover? Motherfucker, you got no credibility, no credits to your name. I don't know if you got the clout to be on a cover. Some people want a little too much before they're ready for it.
Yeah.
No.
We gotta face it with the other side of the coin.
But I would always tell those people, say, listen, pair up with somebody on your same level and do a book together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just do that because that's the best way for everybody to improve. Now, Jay, do you got a question, or do you want to just stick with that cash question and we can pass on that, because I don't think Mitch answered, and I don't think Paul.
No, let's do that question. I had something else. This just came about with the night, but go for it.
All right, so Mitch, you because Sam answered. Oh no, Chad, you didn't answer that question, did you? About the money? How does money factor into your relationship?
What, of just my marriage?
Yeah. Like how does it affect your day to day as far as creating books, and the financial aspect of comics?
I just put money aside until I'm ready to pay somebody or do something. I also do other deals with artists and writers, but mostly my wife is just happy as long as I leave her alone. and I'm typing on my computer, writing or talking to you guys. Right now she's upstairs throwing a party. But no, it doesn't really affect me all that much because I do have a full-time job out of this, so I do have to make money. And it doesn't really, it's never really been an issue with me and her. So she just likes me making books and stories.
What kind of party is she throwing? Damn.
I don't know. There's like 6 guys up there.
Anyway,
okay.
All right.
They're all her friends from work. It's very confusing.
Mitch, how does it affect you?
Well, I'm single, so it doesn't really affect my marriage at all.
How does it affect your dog?
He doesn't give a crap as long as I feed him and water, give him water and show him some love. He's okay. The one thing I will say though is that when people at conventions always come up and say, "Hey, do you have any advice?" And I mean, I always kind of stress that if you're breaking even, you're doing really well in Indy Comics. Because so many times, it took me so long from about 2008 to maybe, about 2012, 2013, when it actually started breaking even for me. And having a day job is easy, or it's easy on me because I don't have to. No, please don't. No, get down. There you go. Good boy. Sorry. Having a day job is pretty easy for me because I have the cash flow that I can survive on, and the comics basically pay for themselves. Yes, some years I make more money than just breaking even, but I'm not really, I don't do it. I'm not trying to sound like a pretentious asshole, but maybe I am. But I don't do it to make money, which is, I think, what most indie creators really need to understand.
Yeah.
Because if you're wanting to make money, then Indie Comics isn't it.
And if you want that Netflix deal, bro, I got something to tell you. Like, I've had so many people go, well, then I got to worry about the movie script. Bro, you haven't even written a page of your comic.
Oh, man.
Listen, they won't even release Grendel.
They will never re-release
Grendel for Matt Wagner. What chance do you have?
They want to release Bone. They wouldn't do Bone.
That's right. Bone's another one. Mouse Guard got cheated.
Yeah. But then there were other factors involved in that.
They were going to do Bone. They canceled it because they lost a butt ton of subscription money for peddling crap.
Michael, do you have any more thoughts before I move over to on the subject, before we move on to either Rosario or myself?
No, I'm
okay. Paul, do you have anything else to add?
No, as far as it coming to make money, like I said, I'm pretty new to this, and I'm still hitting the ropes. I was married right when I started. I went through a divorce that didn't have anything to do with the comics, and I've been lucky enough off that first comic that it actually paid for the next 3, and it's been really shockingly surprising that I've been blessed. I really have.
No, listen, man, it's fantastic. Awesome. Magino says, my wife has gotten plenty of clothes and purses off me doing comics and illustrations, so she really don't say much. All right, so there you go. I think if I stopped doing comics, my wife would leave me. So
yeah, I can see that.
I can see that.
If you need help.
So Jay, answer your own question, bro. How did it affect you?
Big time. First time around the block. I was with someone, and her very last words to me were, "I can't survive on a fantasy world." Right? I lost that. I lost the house. I lost what I had been building up for all the way up into my early 30s. I am 1,000,000% lucky that I'm married to the woman that I'm married to. Right? Not only does she support this, she also set ground rules. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second you're dipping into the red, we're pulling out of this. Right. So I need to generate revenue, not so much a profit, but I need to keep that cycle going. I'm in Sam's position. I really am. That's one of the reasons why I brought it to him. I didn't want to put him on the spot like that, but I understand where he's coming from because I'm in the same place. I don't want to lose my wife. So the second that we are diving into the red, which almost happened, Calderon, right? Yeah. I was there. I was there. I'm out of this. I'm out of this, right? But through this, we're not able to have purses, but we're able to go away, right? We're able to do conventions in different cities she may not have been to. We're able to travel together. We're able to expense that stuff. So the revenue that I generate gets put back into the machine, right? We're going to be doing Awesome Con in June. She's never been to DC. It's going to be a fucking rocking weekend for us. We'll do an extra day before the convention, an extra day after the convention, so we could check the city out, right? And that's one of the things that's going to reinforce our marriage. But, there are still expenses at home that we got to take care of. We're putting away for a house. That's not cheap, right? We're playing the back nine of our 40s. So we got to think about retirement. Whereas 10 years ago, we didn't have to think about how much money we're putting away from that. So yes, I do have a day job. And yes, I'm lucky enough to be at a point where I can manage both. So there's no reason for me to leave one or the other. I would like to, right? But as long as I can keep rocking and rolling and have that pension, so that way when I'm done, I can focus 100% of my time on books and not have to worry about a secondary income because I've already laid that groundwork. Yeah, I'll keep doing that. But I do need to generate revenue to keep this bad boy going. It's not just because I love it, and I do. And she knows with me that same thing with Sam, same thing with Paul, same thing with Chad, right? This keeps that mind going, right? This keeps you from stressing out over other things. This keeps you occupied in ways that keeps you from getting out of her hair and mucking up the honey-do list, okay? This keeps me
sane.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. Not stress-free, but engaged in other facets of life that don't keep me from mucking up the marriage.
It keeps you social.
Yeah.
I feel like it keeps you very social.
John says making comics is what gets me up in the morning.
There you go, John.
And coffee, but yes, I agree.
Yeah. So, Paul, you're up, sir. You got a question?
Yeah, I've got hundreds of questions, but the question that I picked, is I think that everybody in the comic industry should be trying to do new things to bring audiences out there and stuff like that and making goals. The main thing to me is goals. Do y'all have goals, and what do y'all do to reach them to bring new audiences to you?
All right, cool. Chad, what are you thinking?
Oh, you want me to answer the question?
Answer the question. The spotlight is on you.
For goals for me, mine's kind of simple as I just like being able to challenge myself of what genre I want to write. Because that will, in the end, bring me audiences and just people who are interested. I don't want to be the guy who's specifically, I only do horror and slasher books. I only do ass and titties books. I only do Ninja Turtles books, which were the peak of indie comics. But I want to do multiple different genres in order to bring in those audiences. So currently I'm working on a romance title. I'm working on a sci-fi title. So it's me challenging myself, I think, is my biggest goal right now. And I think that will bring in audiences to me.
All right, cool. Sam, what are you thinking?
Yeah, my goal really is just to get Duty out into as many hands as possible. And so that's why I partnered with A Kid in a Comic. So Duty's a comic strip in a newspaper with A Kid in a Comic, and it's going to hit stores, and it's available for subscription base. So it's about 30 different comic strips from a lot of industry known and up and coming artists and creators in this newspaper. And if you go to A Kid in a Comic website, you can check it out. That the proceeds from that go to 2 charities. So this is me just getting exposure for the brand. Duty started out as a comic strip back in 2005 when I first created it. I just decided to go with a comic book format. So it was just easy for me because I had all of those storyboards. So initially, and I just never used them. So I just went back and redrew everything because I already had, I was like, okay, I have a template here. And it's 7 stories a year, 7 comic strips a year. And so that's one way of just getting it into readers' hands that might not know, and then hopefully it drives them to the website and drives them to the book. You know, I've had, since Licensing Expo, I've had conversations with a lot of different companies, but I won't compromise what I want because I have a specific vision for what I want to achieve with the story, and I really want to start with the publishing first. And that's my goal. So my goal is to really just get it in the hands. This Kickstarter that I'm launching in April, that's really for the ISBN number to really get it out there and get it into the stores, the Walmarts, the Targets of the world, and on top of the comic book stores. So my goal is really just readership, just to get it as many people's hands. And I know that when they read it, they're gonna fall in love with it, and then hopefully continue and grow with it. That's my goal.
Fair enough. Cool. Mitch, what are your thoughts?
My goals usually are to get each book done, because I'm the writer, the artist, whatever. You know, I do basically everything except editing. Which biggest piece of advice: don't ever edit your stuff. Someone else to do it. But you know, it's so time consuming. If you're the only one doing it. You know, and I'm a control freak. I don't. Want to like hire someone and then have it, end up, not the way I see it in my head, or something.
So you are a narcissist.
Yes, I am. I fully admit it. Complete asshole. Actually, I was just called an asshole yesterday.
We're used to being called assholes every day. It's okay.
Asshole is a nice term for when they call me.
And I'm also one of those people that, like, I'll have an idea and I'll work on it, and then I'll have another idea and I want to stop the idea I'm working on and work on that one. So, getting each book done, make sure that each idea I have is fleshed out and released before I start the next one.
All right, cool, nice. Mr. Oden, what are your thoughts?
In terms of goals, it honestly meant, like, when I have a project that I'm that I am actively crowdfunding in terms of like Nine Realms Publishing, I obviously have, you have your short-term goals of production and fulfillment that you keep in. But in terms of long-term goals, the big thing is figuring out different distribution models, whether that's getting into stores, online, web comics, everything. I've kind of experimented with a whole bunch of stuff and have been playing with different things. Like, for a while I was playing around with Webtoon, and I might even go back to it once I finish fulfillment on SPQR, because I think that SPQR might really find a good home on Webtoon. But really, it is one of those things where, as you said, Paul, you should always be looking ahead on how to get your material out to a larger audience. Because I personally believe that my personal goal long term will be to get to a point where crowdfunding is something that I can do as an event, but it's no longer the thing that funds my projects. It's a nice way to add residual income, and I know that's like the dream, but like that should always be the goal. That's at the horizon, is getting to that point where you are solvent without crowdfunding, where crowdfunding can be a special experience for the people that have been there for you from the start, and you can make it a collector's experience, but that you have an established base and a business model that sustains itself without you having to go and do all of that, because that's what I would consider to be getting to the point where you are at a level that it's like this can be everything for you at this point.
Cool. Mr. Rosario, what are your goals?
Similar to what Oden was saying, I'm there with him. It falls also under expanding my catalog. I'm releasing my 8th title right now, whether it's me putting it together or I have a team of people putting it together. That's one. I had leveled up prior to the pandemic to the point where I was running a convention, right? I had a 24,000 square foot building in Brooklyn and over 170 vendors. We had a great war chest built up, and then the pandemic happened. And the entire business model for everything fucking changed, right? And coming out of the pandemic,
my God.
I try to invest in a
So
different.
annoying, you're just smink.
It's funny, I usually get called annoying, so I'm right there. But yeah, no, expanding the brand, leveling up, anything that falls underneath that umbrella, like Oden was saying, becoming solvent without having to worry about crowdfunding, that being just one of the many revenue streams that are coming in.
All right, cool. For myself, I have about 40 goals. So I'm trying to decide to narrow it down, right? Because here's the thing, right? I have a business plan, right? And I'm working through it. But every single time I rethink the business plan, so there's constantly a thing of like, oh, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? But ultimately, my true goal is to complete the story. Whether it be the Oswald Chronicles or Tall Tales, is to complete those stories. That is ultimately my goal. So yeah, that in and of itself is key to everything. So that's also why I agree with you, Paul. We have to generate revenue because, like I said, I feed a lot of artists and I want to keep feeding them. So yeah, those are my goals. So
throw them a steak in your basement, dude.
Yeah, but listen, one of them, they're all overseas. I can't even lure them into the country. They're too smart for me. They won't even come in.
Okay, so I hate to talk about myself because I feel like I'm bowstring and I just not that way.
And you said you weren't a narcissist. Go ahead.
No,
yeah, bro.
I try not to talk about, but I understand you have to. Having said that, what I've done to kind of reach new audiences is my first 4 books are with ASAP, which is ASAP Imagination. They're overseas, so they're handling my digital books and kind of getting me a little bit of overseas clientele, if you will. My latest campaign, which is coming out April 1st, is going to be a live launch, which I don't know if I could talk too much about that, but that's going to be on site from a bookstore and be streaming at the same time, which I thought was a little bit different than most. And then on top of that, I did get signed to a publisher, which I'm going to have a comic coming out in August 30th. So those 3 things are the things that I'm working at. And I'm not doing cons that much this year. I'm trying to hit, LCSs, a lot of bookstores as opposed to conventions.
All right, cool. Nice. Now, talking about goals. Chad, what are we looking at?
Oh, yeah.
A website.
Okay. On this website,
Yes.
would you like me to play the video?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Short and sweet. So, Chad, what's Sparkle Dog about?
So The Legend of Sparkle Dog, this is my second and new IP through Asm Productions. So Tina and Rodney were so gracious to pick up my little abomination that Blake Mathias and I created. This story follows a Quinn. they are my gender fluid main character who decides to buy a fursuit on a shady website just for fun to find out what the hubbub is. Well, when he finds out that the fursuit that he buys might actually be a sentient being, and it is the Legend of Sparkle Dog. Sparkle Dog, the fursuit, informs Quinn that he has to. God, I always sound like a lunatic saying this. He has to find the 4 crystal paw pads from 4 furries in order to restore peace to the world, because furries were guardians of the world before humans locked them away. And it's just what it is this multi-genre. Each issue is told in a different genre. So the first issue is the introduction. The second issue is a point-and-click adventure. The third issue is a noir speakeasy style story where it's just telling the legend of Sparkle Dog, and Quinn is trying to release Sparkle Dog to bring peace back. Or is it? So it's weird. It's wacky. It's probably the most experimental comic I've done. But Blake and I are definitely proud of our little abomination that we call it.
Cool. So you said it's going to be 4 issues.
I'm looking at 5 to 6.
Okay.
Is currently what I'm looking at. I've been thinking about combining 5 and 6 into like one giant issue, just because I'm lazy and I don't feel like writing multiple scripts. So it just depends.
All right. Now, what type of time frame are we looking at as far as releases?
For the first issue, I have it for June shipping. Currently, I believe June or July, and the book's done. I mean, it's already been lettered. Mike Jimmy did the lettering. Blake did the art. It's already been edited. Everything's put together. Really, it's mostly just printing and funding, raising funding for printing. So, yeah, but we got all kinds of nice little goodies, especially those blue shirts. I'll tell you right now, those blue lullaby shirts will not be sold again. Those are ones that we kind of did at the last minute. Then once those blue lullaby shirts are done, I'm not bringing them back. The Sparkle Dog ones will be, but not the blue ones. So those are limited. Those are limited edition for Kickstarter only.
Okay, cool. And you've already funded?
We've doubled our goal. So we were asking 750 and we just cleared. We're almost at 1,600. And I'm very excited about that. A lot of people came back for it. A lot of furries were receptive of it too. Some of the tiers that I created, like the drawn in, those are gone. I had 3 of those lined up and they sold in an instant. Nice. One person that bought it, I'm like 90% sure I know who it is, and I don't know if they know what they bought. So I sent them an email and they have not replied back. And so I'm a little concerned.
As long as they don't pull the funding, as long as you get the money, it's all good.
Right, exactly. I just won't tell them until I already have the funding.
Right, exactly. So, charge that card. No, all right, cool. It looks great, man. I mean,
thank you.
You've made your money. You're well on your way, and you've doubled your funding. You'll probably triple it by the time you're ending.
I hope so. We have 12 days left. 55 backers. We just unlocked the first backer goal. So, which is the shipping label. I do have to take that cross promo sticker down because Doghouse is already gone. But definitely looking forward to seeing what more goodies we can give to people.
All right, cool. Very nice. Listen, it's looking good.
Thank you.
All right, let's. Who's next? Who's the next victim?
Right.
Don't everybody jump on at once.
No.
I'm ready whenever.
No, I'm doing it in order of as the person came into the room. So.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what's up?
Talk to us about
Yeah.
This is the first full color graphic novel for There's Nailing in My Toilet. It's the first 5 issues. So if you back the first 4 books, the 5th issue will be in this graphic novel collected. It launches on the 4th on Cast the Craze podcast, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm excited about this one. It's 140 pages of story. Then if you've picked up the first 4 issues, every book has puzzles and trivia. So that continues in this graphic novel. And this is the one that the goal by Foil around Christmas time to hit stores. So this is the book. So I'm hoping that people spread the word, get it out there, and add this to your collection. It's going to be fun.
All right, very nice, very nice. All right, cool. So, all right, and here I didn't mention this earlier. In the show notes, all of these links are in there because you can get Sparkle Dog, everybody else's campaigns, and there's an Alien My Toy. So you can sign up, so you can be notified when. When do you plan to launch, Sam?
April 4th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tuesday, right?
That's a Tuesday, yeah.
Looking forward to this one, definitely.
Yeah, I am too. I was really excited when you announced the trade. So
my kids love it. Love it.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go, Sam. You got to put a single on his face when you know he gets that love, bro. You saw the pearly whites on Sam light up, bro. Love it. That's the audience he's shooting for. That's why he glows like that, man.
Well, I'm hoping that because it'll be the first week when I get to the Puerto Rico Comic Con, so I'm hoping to secure that out there as well and get more people to back it during the camp to the event because I only have the first 4 issues at the con. So if anybody's interested over there, the QR code will be ready. They just have to scan and go and pledge.
Nice.
All right, cool. Mitch, what do we got here?
The Boger, the first issue of the new ongoing series. That the Boger started in 2 miniseries and 3 or 4 short stories, short story mini comics. The overall Boger narrative tells about the god of vengeance, also known as the Boger, who is this eternal being that if you want to exact vengeance upon somebody, then you perform a ritual. He appears and you send him after your intended victim. The first story arc, which is a 2-page story called Legend of the Black Lotus Flower, takes place in feudal Japan. And it tells the story of a samurai whose wife was murdered by his shogun. So he sort of forgoes his sense of honor and duty to the shogun and sends the Boger after him. So you have the Boger going through like armies of samurai and ninja and so forth. Cool. And it's set up. I try to set it up like a traditional Japanese ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing for the story is kind of set up, or a story begins with a grandfather telling his grandson the story of the Black Lotus flower. And the actual story, I found a texture online that's Japanese scroll texture. So I just put that over the artwork. That's the ghost story. So that's one thing I'm very proud of, or the idea that I had for it. And it's got 5 different variant covers. In one tier, you can actually get all 5 if you want all 5.
All right, cool.
I really hope this gets funded because I really do want to read it.
I do too.
This is one of the ones I've wanted to check out.
Now, is there a reason you chose IGG over Kickstarter?
Yeah, mainly for their flexible goal option. So if you back the book, you will get the book. Right. Because even if this isn't funded, which I hope it is, I'm not trying to jinx myself, but I'm still releasing the book.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yay.
Now, would you consider also doing it on Kickstarter?
I'm going to see how this goes, and if it goes well, I will consider Kickstarter. Okay. I'm not one of those people that's like, part of the Indiegogo versus Kickstarter camp. I think it's whichever platform works for you best is the one, is the correct one to go to. And since each project's individually different, then there really isn't, in my opinion, one over the other. So yeah, I'm open to Kickstarter.
Okay, fair enough. All right, nice. I mean, well, you said you it's an ongoing series, right?
Yeah, and it's not the way I structure the Boger world or mythology. It's not necessarily one continuing story. There's different story arcs that take place in different time periods and places. I want to kind of structure it that way on purpose so I can tell whatever story that I want to tell without these strong limits of continuity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, listen, you got some work to do, but that's what you're here for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to put in the work, you know.
You've got 36 days left. You got plenty of time to reach the 1K goal. You can absolutely do that.
Thank you.
If you want, we can link up after the stream and I can give you some point, because I've done the majority of my stuff that I've done through Indiegogo. So I can point you in the direction of some places to go take a look at in terms of like streaming and what have you.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll do that.
Yeah. And Michael is the man.
I do okay. I do all right.
Yeah, you do well. If not a little bit better than that. All right, now talking about that, what do we got here? Do you want me to play the video?
Yeah, you can.
All right, cool.
Boobs.
Yeah. She's got a very enticing package, guys. Anyways, so this is American Bliss. It's really funny. So Dave Brink has his Genuine Comics universe, has done some really great work in that with Perfect 10 is probably his biggest series at this point, but he's got a whole bunch of great characters. And when I was doing The Embrace, he reached out to me initially to try and do a crossover, and I was like, I don't know if that'll work. The Embrace is kind of its own contained story. It doesn't really kind of link up with that. And so he's like, okay, well, if you ever see a character of mine that you really like, just let me know. And then within like 2 days of that, he reveals American Bliss through this pinup that he had the Barton brothers do of 10 and Bliss to promote his anthology book that was with that campaign. And I'm a huge Captain America fan. And, you know, she's like the love child of Captain America and Wonder Woman. And so I literally just went, hey, Dave, you said I could write a book for a character I'm interested in, that one. and so like I pitched him a 5-issue storyline called Father's Pride, and she's the daughter of this like this previous American hero that died in a very similar like death of Superman kind of manner, and so she's kind of filling in his mantle and is having some growing pains with her new role in this society, and like she's trying to balance a relationship. She's trying to balance these insecurities that she has about her relationship with her own father. And all of a sudden, you know, as like pure Bronze Age superhero fashion, shit hits the fan, and as villains start to come out of the woodwork. And so, it's just a really fun story, and it was a blast to write the first issue. As I said, I have 5 planned. And this is just the starting point. And Dave's got a great universe with these really fun characters and really great and strong sense of design. And we've got Eric Hodson doing the sequential art, and it brings this awesome kind of Bronze Age Christopher Reeve Superman kind of feel to it. It's a great time.
All right, cool. So you say again, I always ask the question is what type of release schedule are you looking at? Quarterly, biannually?
I am not the right person to ask that. I believe that the book is most of the way colored, so it should be going through lettering soon. Like I wrote the script, my portion has been done until the next issue.
Gotcha.
So
so here's another thing: is the entire thing written out, or are you doing it one issue at a time? What's going on?
I'm doing it one issue at a time, but I have the story structure, like I have my story map already written. I don't write I do not write it like I don't write by the seat of my pants. What I usually do is I first sit down and I plan out my arc. Now, that doesn't mean that things aren't liable to change as I'm writing if I have like a better idea. But for the most part, I like to know what my story points are going to be and where I want to be hitting my emotional beats and what have you, and how I want the story to progress.
All right, cool. Very nice. And I believe you guys funded already, right?
Yep. We are. I believe we funded at like. I don't remember what the funding goal was. I'm gonna be honest.
I think it was $5,000 for this one. Oh no, 4,300.
Yeah. So we have cleared the funding goal, which is great. And I believe this is Dave's first book on Kickstarter in a hot minute. He had been doing Indiegogo, but Indiegogo had some changes to its platform recently that have kind of driven a few people away from it, which is completely understandable. There are some things that they pulled that were kind of shady, but it's good to see Bliss doing this well. It's a character that I really enjoy, and I did have a blast writing the script, and Eric's art on it is just stellar.
No, you guys are doing great work. I love the stuff by Pow.
Yeah, Pow's phenomenal.
Yeah, because I picked up his other one, the what is it, the Perfect 10?
Yeah, Perfect 10 is great. Stuff. My favorite book from the Genuine Verse will always be Dream Girl Sleeper Agent, but like Perfect 10 is a great book.
All right, cool. Very nice. Listen, you got another 8 days to go. Hopefully you guys, I'm sure you guys, make another 30-40% on top of whatever you've already made. So, that's awesome, man. I mean, this looks really good.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Now hold on. Let's see who's left. Give me a second. All right, let's bring on. Sorry, guys. I really do need a producer.
It's okay. We'll judge accordingly.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Go ahead, go.
I'm just saying, Spawn is really good.
Listen,
so what we get,
you just keep telling me more and more about yourself. Go ahead.
So what we got here is Prelude to Aurora. This is going to be coming out April 1st. I'm going to be live launching from On Location at Geek Out here in Burleson, Texas, and be streaming. I don't know if I can talk about the streaming channel, but we're going to be doing it live in both locations. This is going to be my newest title. It's going to be 3 issues long. It's 26 pages in this one, and it's Prelude to Aurora. It's demons versus gargoyles in a unique story that has a family caught in between, and this woman's trying to figure out what's going on and what's happening around her. And it's like, ask the question, what would you give your life up to protect? Would you give your life up to protect a friend, a family member, or even the world? And this is what she's trying to figure out, what's going on around her. This is Prelude to Aurora, and it's going to be April 1st. Like I said, live launched On Location and streaming live.
All right, cool. Nice. Now, how many issues are you looking at? Or is this a one shot?
This is gonna be 3 because I have so many others in the process. After this, I'm gonna go back to Bushi. Well, after this, I'm going to Dracula's Descent, which I got picked up by the publisher Blood Moon Comics, and that's gonna be in August 30th in stores. But then I'm going to Bushibu 3, Bushibu Circus Mysteries issue 3, and then I'm probably going to come back to this unless, and I've been in talks with someone who wanted to sponsor the next issue, which is, sometimes just talks, but if that happens, then I've been talking to my artist and lining them up for 2 months after the release. So it really depends on how well it does on Kickstarter, if I get sponsored for that next issue, and other than that, but it's 3 issues long.
All right. Well, sounds awesome. Now, how many variant covers you got?
I'm gonna have 3. I'm gonna have 3 variant covers. and the funny thing about it is, it's gonna be one by the interior artist Santa Spina. He's an amazing artist. The second one's gonna be by my best friend Jeff Mute, and he's an awesome artist as well. But the third one's going to be by a newer artist, Zach Spivey, and he's going to be doing a 5 gatefold cover for this.
Wow.
5 gatefold cover.
Beast mode.
Yeah. So I wanted to do something unique that I could put on my table and kind of show off and kind of, I don't want to say flex, but kind of get the attention or be a talking point in selling my comics. So
well, that thumbnail thumbnail's fire.
You can say flex, it's okay.
this is Santa Spina's art, and like I said, he's so amazing. He did PTSD and Cryptic Cage for me, and he's back for this third comic IP that I have, and he's been amazing.
All right, cool. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what's that gatefold cover going to cost?
Oh, it's going to cost about $1,000. Yeah, $1,000.
Oh, well, no. I mean, when you actually have it produced on the table, like as a physical book, what's the book going to cost?
I haven't figured out on the table. I'm going to sell it on Kickstarter for $25, and I think I'm only going to do 100. Gotcha. So I don't know how much I'm going to sell it on my tables. It's probably going to be a little bit more because I don't want to sell out of them. I mean, it's nice to say that you sell out, but I really like to have it on my table as a conversation piece.
Gotcha. You getting those POD'd?
Yes. Yeah. Because again, I don't know how many I'm going to do. I think I'm only going to do 100, but the artist who's doing them is talking to me about doing 200 because he didn't really want me to sell out too fast. He's pretty new and he wants to have a decent supply. So
and you need comp copies too, but don't let your modesty keep you from keeping the lights on. You know what I'm saying?
And I've got plans for that cover, but this cover that we're going to sell on Kickstarter is definitely going to be limited, and the next variation of that cover might be in about 6 months, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Listen, it looks awesome. Like you said, April 1st.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hold on. Then I got this other guy.
Oh man!
Somebody
wait, what other guy?
But even what? More importantly, Daphne has a campaign going on.
Yeah, right. God damn! He just launched. Right? He just launched that shit yesterday.
So yeah, I mean, she's doing incredible. So I'm gonna play a video.
Way to go, D.
Good to see Daphne again.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah, she launched on Friday. So she's doing well. Like I would just tell everybody, go check it out. She's doing fantastic work.
Shit.
I'm not going to talk on it because I'll just fuck it up.
All right, and that's everybody. Good night.
Man. Way to be.
That's everyone. Good night.
All right, hold on. Hold on. We still got this other guy.
What other guy?
There you go. I launched this morning. So let me play the video real quick.
I wish this was in color.
All right. So there you go. If you enjoy the channel, please go support. But yeah, I just launched. Daphne launched it for me this morning, so that was pretty cool. So it's a trade paperback, and I'm not going to go into it because I got another one to go into from this other guy.
You just got a new backer on there.
How many guys do you have, Jay?
I have a lot of guys. If you look on that screen, you're one of them.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
This is the weirdest corn hub I've ever been on.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is why I need a producer.
You just got a new backer in your campaign, bro. You need to shout
you
that
know
out.
You know what? Thank you, backer. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you every time.
You said thank you, backer.
But here we go. This is what I wanted to show everybody.
Is that little me?
Oh, let's just never mind.
Little me. You know what? You can play the video because we got a brand new video up, baby.
Oh, that's right. It's about
That's
flipping
right,
time.
son. Check that shit out. Yo.
Can't I leave you on your own for 5 minutes? One of these days I will find you looking for your teeth among the ashtrays. Tired.
She should have said boobs at the end of it. Boobs. That's gonna come in there now. Yeah, this is the 8th book to be released. The 8th title to be released by Unstoppable Comics, coming from a team out of Colombia who are looking for U.S. Representation. That's where I come in. So we got 4 covers up here, and we have a brand new cover. A is the brand new American release cover. Cover B is our cheesecake / Hellraiser homage cover. So we got censored some of that, some of the bits and the bobs there. Not as kinky as you think it is. Definitely more towards Hellraiser. Then our cover C is the original Colombian release, and cover D is our wild card cover. So it's dealer's choice, whatever they wanted to put together. And funny enough, they went with a Joker card that's going to play a part in the continuing series, which will be a 3-issue miniseries. I love that Kickstarter has been able to now add images to the reward tiers. So I don't know if you saw that on the right. And I thought that I was going to be unable to take advantage of that because I had launched the project. And you guys know, if you've run a Kickstarter before, once you launch a project, you're not able to edit any of the tiers. But for this new thing, they are allowing you to put images up there on the reward tier. So that's great. So you're looking at, we got 5-page preview to the book lettered by two of the guys, Said Atayala and Champe Ramirez, who, it was translated from Spanish to English, and that's going on over there. The story is about a former priest who is now the new Lord of the Underworld. He doesn't want to do it, but he's stuck there and he's real shitty at it. So he's spending most of his time drinking at a bar in Limbo. So hence the title, Limbo, open almost all eternity. Then we'll go down. You see where the little bit of where the money's going from Kickstarter, the team of people putting it together. A very popular cover is now on the T-shirt. We weren't thinking about doing any shirts, but people were asking for it. So we've moved a few of them, which is awesome. We are also doing premium holochrome covers. So that's a little video of what they're going to be looking like. Excuse me.
Do you want me to play the video?
It's a quick pass through. It's just pretty much what you see there. So those are what the holochrome covers are going to look like, but that's from our last release of the Dead Princess Vicky Sticks. And, then you go down and you get to take advantage of what we have as our secret weapon, and that is our catalog. So if you've missed any of the books from Unstoppable Comics, you can pick up limited single issues that we still have print, and almost all of our trades, which are still in print. Or if you're, looking for somebody to save space or trying to hide books from your wife, you can pick up our digital catalog, which is the best value for the buck. So for $60, you get about $78 worth of digital content.
Oh.
Nice. Yeah. All right, cool. You're halfway to your goal.
We are. We still got 3 weeks. Well, almost 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
We're at 50%. Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, man. I mean, the book looks great. This is a book I'm looking forward to.
The guys did a great job on this, man. I really want to show everybody what they're doing, but it's like, you don't want to give away the cow if you're getting them the milk for free. Wait, that's not how the line goes. But you know what I'm going for, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the cow's good for steak, so
the cow's good for steak. Also. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, man. Listen, man. It looks awesome. You just got to keep pushing.
I gotta go. My wife just got home from the airport, so
okay.
I love this. It was a great time.
Okay,
all right, man. Take it easy, brother.
Take care.
Yes, good seeing you.
He just wanted to leave because Jay showed him Bob's.
That's probably what it was. All right, gentlemen. So we're back to question time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna instead of going ahead and asking my regular stuff, do any of the guests have a question they want to ask the panel? No. Okay, Paul.
Yeah.
You
All
said you had
right.
1,000 questions, so I
All
figured.
right.
I
Question
actually
number
have to
two.
pop off my own self. I just got a message from my dad that he needs my help with something. So
All right.
Take
I
care.
gotta
of
pop off as well.
Okay.
Mitch,
All right.
please get in touch with me.
I will.
I'll get I'll see if I can't help you find some avenues to market the book. It was a pleasure hanging out with everybody. JD,
I
thanks
will.
for thanks so much for having me on. Jay, it's great seeing you again. Paul, I think this is the first time I've met you. And Chad, I think I've bumped into you once or twice before, but it was a long time ago.
Probably.
But it's a pleasure hanging out with the panel. You guys stay excellent, stay creating indie comics. Make sure that you guys check out American Bliss if you haven't already. And we also have the sign-up list for the Embrace 2 is still live. We have gone over 500 sign-ups, so make sure that you're one of them. All right, you guys have a great night.
Take
it
care,
easy,
bud.
Michael.
Bye,
Good
bro.
talking.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
He was
Oh,
never
I
heard
just
from
wanted to
again.
say something really quick. In the chat, we have Draw and Talk. That's Tyler Carpenter. He's the one that actually did that video for me. And Tyler does an excellent job. That's why
Nice.
I'm going to probably be hiring him on the regular to do these. Probably every other campaign. Probably not every campaign, but every other campaign. But yeah, man, he does a great job. And listen, and Tyler, if you ever decide to give up comics and go into film editing, I think you might have another career lined up for yourself.
Yeah, but don't
Seriously.
do it because let me tell you about Tyler. He actually, I watched and studied his stuff before I made my first comic, and I owe a lot of the things that I learned to some of his, comic talk. It was amazing.
Yeah, his insights are very good, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, but I'm sorry, Paul. I'll step in. What's your question, sir?
All right, so I tell new creators that come up to me, I tell them, make sure you have a strategy, make sure you have a plan going into it. I didn't because I came in accidentally, like I say. Did you have a strategy coming in, and how has it changed throughout your progression in your career?
All right. Mitch.
Well, I really didn't have a strategy when I started. Of course, I started about 14, 15 years ago. And the culture of indie comics was a lot different. We didn't have crowdfunding. You didn't have a lot of the social media stuff that you have now. So, the only strategy, that I had was just get the books done and out into the customer's hands. That and do the work to the best of my own ability. Don't put out what I myself wouldn't want to read.
That's fair. All right, cool. Chad, what are your thoughts?
Oh, when I first started, I had absolutely no strategy except I just wanted to make a comic. That was my strategy. Was, you know what? I want to make a book. I want to get it published, or I just want to put it out there. I had no idea what I'm doing. Still don't, but I'm still learning. And I think I'm like 4 years in of doing this. Now I know what I'm doing, but first going in, I just wanted to make a book. So, and no idea I was going to get this far. So,
yeah, that's fair. And listen, Chad, none of us ever really know what we're doing.
Yeah,
and those people who tell you they do are full of shit.
Actually, I do have a question now that you bring that up. Do you think, it's kind of like with our topic manga, do you think with independent comics it's wise to take risks with different types of topics and genres and ideas?
I think is the best time to do it.
Yeah.
I think if you're not going to do it in indie comics, where are you going to do it? You're going to get a job at Marvel or Captain America. You're going to start talking about, I don't know, whatever weirdness you want to talk about. No, you're going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do Captain America the first who, having to get together with the four paws.
Oh,
right?
I will. You try to stop me.
Yeah, your editors won't.
Right. Speaking to that fact, I mean, my first comic that I got put out, whenever I was going through the process of putting it together, everyone was telling me, don't do this comic. This comic isn't a comic book worthy kind of story. And then it turned out to be my best-selling comic. And it's gotten so much acceptability after it got done. I was kind of shocked because I honestly didn't think it was going to sell 10 copies.
See, Paul, sometimes narcissism works.
Yeah. Well, and again, I don't think it was about me. Like I said, I just wanted to get this message out about mental illness and awareness kind of thing. It really was trying to help other people out.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, though, it came from the heart.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I mean by when I do my stuff is coming from me for me, but it's something I do want to share with people. But you got to understand, it's very personal to me, so I want to share that. And that's what you did with your project.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't expect to make any money off of it. I knew I went going in, everyone saying not to make it. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not going to make any money. I was relying on my second title to make money, and my first one just blew up. I was really shocked.
Yeah. My thing is that
that's good.
People know if you're having fun creating your comics. Like they do. I mean, you go to Marvel and DC and you can tell they're just doing it for a paycheck.
Yeah.
But well, depending on who you are, like yeah, it depends on who you are. But when I look at indie comics, we're in it to make the stories. We're in it to make dumb ideas become awesome at some points too.
Yeah. I think I've had the conversation with Jay is like on other streams where it's like Marvel and DC are releasing roughly 80 to 100 books a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Out of those 80 to 100, they have probably 5 or 6 good books.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 5 solid, really good books. And I mean, listen, and then the rest of them, it's not to say they're not having a good time, but you got journeyman people doing journeyman things. They're just getting a check.
And 9 times out of 10, the ones that are good, nobody's reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's if I hear enough people barking about it, I'll end up buying it eventually.
The last run in TMNT was really good. Just saying.
I picked up the I actually picked up the hardcover.
I did too.
And
I almost did, but I got this other one first.
Gotcha.
I'll do a power bomb.
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson is a great writer. I love that man.
It's a great book, man. Wow.
Yeah, believe it, it's on my nightstand. That's what I just finished reading the Starman Compendium.
Not Grant Morrison's run.
No, that was
James Robinson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
James Robinson. Yes.
And Tony Harris doing the artwork.
Yes. Most of it. Towards the end, it starts to switch over to other people, but yeah.
They had that entire catalog of Starman for free on the DC app before they went to HBO, and I read through it. It's very good.
Oh yeah. And I think that's because I think they had issues with James Robinson.
Wow.
Real.
Yeah, I think they had some kind of weird issues because they kept releasing the series but never finishing it. So I remember I bought the first compendium and I would refuse to start reading it until the second one came out. And then the second one just came out about 2 months ago. So I got them both. So, great stuff. But Do a Powerbomb is next on the list. So, all right. Now, where were we? We were talking about goals, right? Paul, that was your question?
Yeah. What goals did you start with? Where did they elevate you to? Or
you're up, sir.
Okay. What did I start with? So, I'm doing Unstoppable Comics now 16 years. Before that, May is going to be 16 years. Before that, I was doing little zines, right? Ash cans. And the business plan was local church basement con, show up with the ash cans and act like Oliver Twist. Please look at my book set. Please. Right? That was I think that's most people's starting point. Then from there, I did some print-on-demand books and realized you can't make money on print-on-demand books. So that started the ball rolling. It's weird because I have a background for this. I've got years of work experience in retail, both small business, big box, pharmaceutical. I've got years of experience in logistics. I've got years of experience as a salesman, so I know how to be a vendor. I know how to push that stuff. I know how to break out of your shell. I know how to read somebody's body language to understand that the pitch is not going the way you want it to go and how to adjust on the fly. And when I realized that I had all these different areas to choose from, things started to come together. I didn't start with anything more than College Business 101, right? But you got to learn how to do the number game here. You got to learn how to set your budget. You got to learn how to track your expenses. You got to learn. I don't want to say micromanage, but itemize every small expense. Yeah. Because as a small publisher, every penny fucking counts. The school is this. I don't want to say the school of hard knocks. The school is boots on the ground, learning from what other people are doing, networking, taking every bit of information from people, even the stuff that doesn't work. So you know how to keep away from falling down that hole.
Or making it work.
Yeah, or making it work, right? Or finding out how that maybe didn't apply to this person, but maybe it can apply to what you're doing. So it's not osmosis, but along the way you learn that you've learned that you have learned certain skills to keep you going and doing this. And it's only now, funny enough, that I'm planning 3 years into the future. And it's funny because I told this to Calderon a few months ago. I'm like, holy shit, I got a production schedule that's taking me into September of 2025. And I'm excited, right? Prior to this, I was eating with my eyes, and that was a problem, right? I invested money in trying to get a video game made. We only got one level made, and that was a couple grand. And that could have been a couple books, right? Yeah. We've invested money in developing action figures, and there have been a hell of a lot of speed bumps, but we're still going to pull the trigger on that. So that's a good thing. I've tried to go and put the cart before the horse when all I really had to figure out is how to sell that fucking horse. Right? And that is a journey unto itself, because we see all these other people out there with the shiny baubles and the tchotchkes, and they're making it work, but we don't understand that it took time for them to make it work. So until you come to that point of self-realization, you're going to fall down those rabbit holes. You're going to lose that money. And then once you realize, making comic books is all about making comic books. And I heard Jeff Smith say this all the way back in the 90s. Right?
Are you a Jeff Smith fan?
I am a Jeff Smith Gold fan. I couldn't get into Razzle, and I couldn't get into, what's the other one? Tuku?
Oh yeah, I know that one. I haven't.
Tika, I think maybe.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't know. He's got maybe 2-3 volumes of that. So those I haven't got into. But yeah, I am a Jeff Smith fan more than I am a Dave Sim fan. More than I am a McFarlane fan. I'm an Eric Larson fan. You know, I'm a fan of the people who grinded it out. I am. Not to say that I'm not learning lessons from all those people. I'm a Polito fan. I'm a Tom Hutchinson fan. I'm a Larry Higgins fan, right? I'm a Charlie Stickney fan. These are guys that are out there who have leveled up from where we were, from where we are, and they're making it work. So it's all about seeing what people are doing out there and trying to find ways to apply that to yourself. Sometimes it's not going to work, and you got to lose money on it, right? Mm-hmm. But I found the only way to keep from wringing your own neck when you lose that much money is saying this was a valuable lesson learned. What can I
spend money to make money?
That's it, brother.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's unfortunate. True. People are like, "Oh my god, it's $200 to get a script edited." Yep. What's your point?
And you're lucky it's that cheap,
right? Yeah. Exactly.
To go back to what Chad asked earlier. Should you experiment with stuff? Dude, we are the indies. This is the only place. We're the trendsetters.
Yep.
You know, they follow what we're doing, and then they apply that to the big stuff, right? The problem with the big stuff is there's too much editorial constraint on there because it is a commercial machine, and they need to keep that engine running. But with us, dude, this is your place. Go fucking wild, man. Especially if it's your money going into it.
Right. And then you also have the people who are literally in it to make the superhero project the big thing. And then we have a creator about aliens and toilets and just other insanity off the wall stuff. And
I'm not going to shit on superheroes too, because look, the majority of my catalog is superhero stuff.
Sure,
right?
I'm not.
And it's like it's the New Yorker in me, so I apologize.
Sure.
It's not. I always carry that chip on my shoulder, like, what the fuck you say? You know what I mean? And I got to learn how to tone that stuff down.
Sure. And
right?
there's great superhero books out there too.
Yeah.
So
my kid's working on a script, and he's working on a superhero script.
Well, he needs to stop immediately.
It comes down to this, right? There may be more than 31 flavors of ice cream, but everybody is going to go back and buy vanilla every so often in their life. Okay,
I agree.
So you can't shit on them.
You can't. You're always going to pick up a Marvel, a DC, or a superhero book from time to time if you're interested in it. Like, and that's just the way it's going to be. I just picked up Wonder Woman Earth 1 because it was $5 at Ollie's, the hardback, and I was like,
Grant Morrison.
Yeah. I haven't read it yet, but I like a lot of those Earth 1 ones. I like the Green Lantern and the Batman one.
See, I don't have an Ollie's out here. I wish we had an Ollie's because I hear so many good things about it. But I go to comic shops and I hit those dollar boxes.
Yep.
And I buy those, 70s and 80s and 90s dollar books, whether it's superhero, indie stuff. Shit, I almost got a complete collection of Ultraverse. I think I'm missing maybe 10 to 15 single issues. And I've had almost every copy, especially promo books that they've ever made. So, that dollar book hunt is a favorite pastime of mine.
Every time I go to convention, I always hit the $5 trade paperback bins.
Yeah, there's a
and
lot
I
of
just
stuff there.
find superhero books, just stuff that I've never heard of, just the wildest things you can find. And it's always a ton of fun to do it. My wife also kills me for it because of my, money. But
I know, dude, we're running out of space.
Yeah,
I'm about to move my personal collection into my workspace storage spot because
don't do it, man. Don't do it.
I need the space.
I can't do digital. Like people are like, you could just switch to digital, and I'm like, it's just not.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's like it's the experience of opening the book and getting the ink on your hand and like feeling the paper. Like
that's the one thing that's missing. Feeling the paper and that smell.
Yes.
That smell of print, dude.
Which is newspaper print. I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Newsprint.
You know what? That's
old Vertigo title.
That's a tchotchke everybody needs to get a scratch and stiff snicker. Scratch and stiff
old comic smell.
Yeah, and slide it into every single issue that you ship out.
Get an air freshener.
There you go, man. How do we make that shit?
I don't know.
But smell.
We just made $1 million idea. Hell yeah. Patent.
It's comic books. It's not $1 million idea.
No, I know. It'll get a Netflix deal. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. That's the funny thing. Going into learning how to build a business, because that's what you end up essentially becoming as an independent comic book creator. You end up becoming a business person, a publisher. Yep. And that's a great thing. And it came to us from comics. It didn't come to us from school. God damn it, how we paid attention. We'd be in a better position than we are right now.
And even then, like JD said, none of us really know what we're doing.
No.
I got a business meeting. What's it about? I don't know. I talked for like 10 to 20 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
C and I just had a meeting, and it really was just us digging around for about an hour.
Well, to answer the question, when I first started, I was 18, 19 years old. And I'm pretty sure everybody remembers when they're 18, 19 years old, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing just waking up in the morning. So,
Yeah, but you thought you did.
Exactly. Like we were doing comics. And, my grand idea was we were going to take over the industry. We ended up producing, I had 3 books coming out. We were producing 1 book of each book every year. So they were annuals. Right, not exactly the best way to create a business, right? And then we went on, we did professional stuff, but for my current model, I do have a plan, and I'm working through it. So there is a plan, and I'm working through it. Right. So ultimately, hopefully in the next year, I'll get it to a point where I'll be able to make some different types of moves. So we'll see what happens. So Paul, yes,
to answer my question, it was an accident. Like I've said a million times, it's like I started with I had lost my job. My kids were out of school. I wanted to do something to keep the morale up. And we started talking about stories and stuff. And it just happened that I introduced them to comics. And the goal was to get their morale up. That was the only goal at that first month or two. And after, I started making books, putting them on the shelves, I realized I had to have a business plan. And I tell, every creator that asks me, you got to have a business plan, and mine is simple. At the moment, it's a 4 or 5 prong attack. You got, crowdfunding, you got conventions, you got local comic stores, you got whatnot. And my 5th prong, if you can find it, is a publisher. Because in all honesty, I didn't think I would be picked up by any publisher for at least, 4 or 5 years. I didn't, I've stumbled upon a lot of good luck in the past year. I mean, thank God. But my plan right now is, get into those comic book stores and get a little bit more known, because I still don't feel like people know me. I was shocked the other day. I had an interview with someone I admired, and they're like, "Yeah, I read your book," and I was like, "Really?" It kind of shocked me. So, but that's my business plan nowadays, is that 5 prong attack kind of thing.
You can always be, a lot of people, I do feel like new creators overthink it a lot. They're like, well, now I need an editor. I need this. I need that. I'm like, just write the script. Like, just slow down one little step at a time. Like, editors, artists, everything are going to be there. Like, there's never going to be you can't find them anymore. Just focus on the book and then go from there. Dude, people will pick it up.
Whether you're a writer or an artist, we're all starting at the same place, right?
Yep.
With this one piece of paper.
Yep.
And you got to learn how to fill this piece of paper before you move on to the next step.
Yep.
And too many of the new jacks, they don't understand that yet, or they don't want to understand that yet. Right? They want to drive before they learn how to crawl. Forget about running and walking.
Right.
And it takes time to get to the point.
And they also want to do never mind, I completely lost it. It was there.
They want to jump and skip everything. They even want to skip the comics sometimes. They're like, I'm going to start creating this and I'm going to be on Netflix tomorrow.
Yep. Well,
I mean, that's a whole nother journey, though. I mean, if you want to go become a screenplay writer and do all that stuff, move out to Hollywood, move out to LA, right?
And even
bus tables. And try to meet people and try to get on crews and get in those rooms. It's not easy, but it can be done.
And it's good to have goals.
And comics always start, even the seasoned people, it starts with a page.
Yeah.
Like everybody pulls out a piece of paper or on your computer or your phone or whatever, and they write a story. Like everybody starts back at the beginning when they start a new story.
Yeah.
So is it a pain in the butt? Yes, absolutely. But that's what happens. And I'm sorry, but it is work, and you're going to have to do it every single time.
Yeah.
So,
but it's the good kind of work.
Oh, yeah. It's as long as you're having fun, like that's all that matters. Like just always remember to have fun. So that's how we got Ryan Otley's Grizzly Shark, and that's incredible. It's my favorite things.
There you go. All right, gentlemen. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. You guys all did great. And again, please, everybody, all of the links are in the show notes. So you can go check out all the books that we, Sparkle Dog, Boger, Limbo, Paul, I'm sorry, I forget.
Prelude to Aurora.
Prelude to, see, that's why, too many syllables. But his page is on there, so you can click on it and it'll let you know when it's going up. The Oswald Chronicles is up. Eagle Raven is up. So go back some books. Thank you, everybody. This was fantastic. And please, Chad, let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
At home, you can also find my work. So you can actually find my work through
if you want, just put up your address so they can find you at home.
Oh yeah, okay, hang on. You can actually find all of this, my updates of what I'm doing currently at my Twitter, which is @CasualNerdChad. Join me tomorrow with my co-host Sabrina on Shots with Comics, right here on the Indy Comics Network, where we get drunk at 8:30 p.m. We get drunk, we talk about comics, and we have a good time. And then you can find Blue's actually been popping up into comic book stores, so go there through Ingram and ask your comic book store to order you a copy. So, yeah.
Chad, you drink while you do your show?
Oh God, yeah.
Hi. How I got you tonight. You need guests? Let me know.
I mean, we're more of a review show, but yeah, I mean, hell yeah, I'm always down.
Hang out, man.
I'm always just down to hang out and drink and stream and talk about comics.
Nice.
Like, I was drinking right now here. I had a couple of beers, so
that's how you
or
do.
a beer, yeah, a beer.
Yeah, we have a term for that in Spanish. Borrachón.
Yeah, alcohol.
No, because I don't start drinking until after 10 p.m. I mean 10 a.m.
I was about to
10
say.
a.m. Yeah, that's definitely a borrachón. Yes.
I don't stop drinking. That's the secret.
Jay gets up and he takes a shot. That's terrible. It's not a good way to live life. Mitch, where can they find you in your work, sir?
You can find me down here at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios. You can find everything: my website, online store, socials, email, everything.
All right, cool. Paul, where can they find you in your work, sir?
I am Paul Gomez 790. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you need any help, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Also, you can catch me every Wednesday, 4 o'clock Central. I do a show, Reality of Publishing Comics, and that's where I'm at.
All right, cool. Mr. Rosario?
You can find me at unstoppablecomics.com. All roads lead to and from unstoppablecomics.com. But I really, really want everyone to please check out Limbo, open almost all eternity, #1 right now on Kickstarter for another 19 days.
All right.
I want to know. So, what days is it closed? Because you said it's open on through some all eternity, but some days.
See, that's the hook, because he's the new Lord of Hell, and maybe he's really shitty at the job. So if things go south there, not only is hell going to go out the window, but so is Limbo. So they're going to be open maybe almost all eternity.
Love it.
There you go. So I'm JD Calderon, and you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, DeviantArt, Instagram, all under that. And go check out the Oswald Chronicles, and go check out Ego Raven. And I'll be talking to you all guys soon. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mike. We'll be talking to you soon. Have a good night, guys.
Later.
Bye.